Hi, and welcome to a cooking edition of Two Tired Teachers. And the reason I'm going on and making this video is because we've made a series of videos about solar cooking on the go, and we do still solar cook. It's just I'm not cooking anything new, so haven't posted a lot of videos about that. But something we enjoy as we travel is jerky. And those mornings that are travel days, a lot of times if we have just pulled over for the night, we'll get up and have some dry cereal, some jerky, and obviously some sort of coffee to go with that, but we're on the go. And so I want to show you that making jerky does not have to be extremely complicated, and you don't have to have a lot of fancy equipment. First of all, I've just started this fire, so I want to show you I don't have a giant smoker. Matter of fact, I have a very cheap Walmart grill. But what I have done here, and here is the lid right here. So you can see it's a really short grill. But what I have done here is I got these bricks at Home Depot for like 58 cents a piece. And what I am going to do, you're going to say, well, that's not going to hold anything, is I have some shish kebab skewers. I'm going to skewer up my meat. I've had it marinating, and then I'm going to have a series of those across there, and you're going to be surprised how much meat this gets in there. Now, this is just flat on the bottom, and I'm constantly going to be rotating which set of jerky is in front. You'll notice I've hung a thermometer back here. My goal is to keep the fire between 150 to 200 degrees. That's the goal. And I placed the fire up front here near these vents, if you can see these vents, because once this fire catches good and the coal's ready, I'm going to close that off so that it's just smoking. I have some hardwood pellets. These are just some hickory pellets that I'm going to put on there. My recipe for marinating the meat. You ready? This is complicated. 2 parts soy sauce, 2 parts water, 1 part barbecue sauce. And that's it. So I say how many parts because it's really going to depend on how much meat you're smoking. And you can kind of play around with that depending on the meat. The meat needs to be thin sliced, and I've been able to just find this over the counter. You can have a butcher slice it for you at about 1/8 of an inch, but thin sliced meat that has very, very little fat. And so I have made up some of that, and the other recipe is 2 parts teriyaki sauce, 2 parts water, 1 part barbecue sauce. And barbecue sauce honestly was whatever they have on sale. With the soy sauce and the teriyaki sauce, you do not want low sodium. It's the sodium that's actually going to cure the meat. And so how long this is going to take, it's going to vary. It depends on the humidity, it depends on the temperature, it depends on a lot of things. And so about every hour, hour and a half, come out. If I need to put a few more hardwood pellets on there, the hardwood pellets are what's going to really cause the smoke to come up. This is going to be my second time doing this, and like I said, I'm going to be able to get a lot of meat out here. I'm going to show you that as soon as I get it on, and hey, at the end I'll let you see me tasting it and wish that you could as well. Okay, I do believe we are cooking with low heat and smoke. I have just put some of the pellets on there, and you can already see the smoke is starting to come up off of that. I had to move my thermometer to the side, but have 6 skewers of meat. The important thing is you don't want them touching each other, so I'll just be watching that. And this is something you are going to need to be around for. So like I said, about in an hour or so, I may add a little more wood pellets, and then another hour from that I may need to add a little more charcoal. I'm going to let the heat dictate that depending on what our temperature is, and then the vents in front I may need to open or close. But as it is now, I will put the lid on, and you can see we have smoke coming out. I'm going to keep this closed because we really do want to keep the, make sure you can see that. I'm going to keep the vent back here closed because we do want that smoke permeating that meat. And so as long as I have a nice white smoke coming out, we're going to be in great shape. And that's it. Okay, we are at about 2.5, 3 hours in, and I have done this once before, but there's so much moisture cooking out of this meat that as I take the front one off and I lift and put the others in, move them forward, I am taking some paper towels and dabbing up the moisture that's on the bottom. I can't really film sopping that stuff up while I'm doing it. And so I'm going to let you know. Here we go. This is what we look like at about 2.5. We're under 3 hours. And you can see this is browning nicely on top. And let me show you here. You can see there's a little moisture down there. And if let me just take one of these up here. Okay, we're up to 200 degrees, so I don't want to touch that thermometer right now. But down in between there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is some moisture. So as I'm rotating these, it is going to, I'll just dab that up, but you can see this is really starting to look great. Okay, we are just about at the 6-hour mark, so let's take a look. Yeah, I wiped some of the dust off of that. And man, that is looking really good. Now you're going to notice the tops of these are actually a little bit burned. That's because even though this is shallow, it cooks hotter on the top than it does the bottom. But not all of these are going to be completely done, but you can see that is, boy, that is just about perfect looking jerky. And so I promised you a taste test. Let me put the camera down for a second, get some, and I'll be right back. Taste test is going to take a second because this is still really hot. Let me mention while I'm waiting, I'm going to set this down on a paper towel to cool. While I'm letting that cool for a second, these bricks actually do become warm, so it's kind of cooking in several different directions, which is really good. The ones that are a little bit longer, it's going to take a little bit longer to cook, but overall, you can see, you know, I don't have a $500 smoker or however much those things cost, and yet I was able to get this done. You may have to set yours up a little bit differently. Sometime I may get a 2-drawer file cabinet. I've seen videos where they have 4-drawer. I'll never need to cook that much meat. So, now, this is actually going to be soy sauce, and that is good. That is really good. And it took about 6 hours on a low heat, keeping it between 150, 175. To keep the heat kind of in that range, sometimes I would open the vent in front. One time I even opened it in back to let the heat kind of build up a little bit more. But worked perfectly, and now we're going to have some high protein snacks on our trip. Thanks for watching. Two Tired Teachers.